Cecilia Ogwal passed away after losing a battle with cancer on Thursday, January 18, 2024. She was 77 years old at the time of her tragic demise. Her close family members announced the sad news to local media and told that she succumbed to cancer at a hospital in India on Thursday morning. Cecilia Barbara Atim Ogwal was a respected member of Parliament for Dokolo District Women's Constituency in Uganda. She was a former Miss Uganda and served as a parliamentary committee of physical infrastructure member, overseeing and covering policy matters related to housing, urban development, land, physical planning, and work and transport. She was also a defense contractor and management consultant and has been a member of Uganda's legislature since 1996. She was also a member of the Budget Committee. Born December 6, 1946, she won the 1969 Miss Uganda title at 23. She attended local schools in Uganda. She earned her Bachelor of Commerce from the University of Nairobi in 1970. She holds a certificate in Human Resources Management from the Uganda Management Institute, formerly known as the Institute of Public Administration. Ogwal worked at the Uganda Embassy in Kenya from 1979 to 1980 as a liaison officer for returning Uganda refugees. She worked as the operations manager at Uganda Advisory Board of Trade from 1980-81. In 1982, she co-founded the Housing Finance Bank and continued to work there until 1984. She also served as the chairperson of Uganda Development Bank from 1981 to 1986. In 2015 at the Ugandan Convention UK, she gave a speech and she had this to say.
I just want to say that if you are a Ugandan and you have been living here, we need you back home. And for two reasons. One, you cannot be hanging on a tree when you don't have a root. You must identify yourself with your country where you come from. Many of you are getting married to people who are not Ugandans. Your children will never know the rich culture of Uganda. So it's very important. It's very important if you are married to a British or a Zambian or whatever, take your children home so that they can know how to speak Luganda, how they can speak Luo, and they must learn how to eat matoke, kuon, and all that. That is very important. That's what makes you a Ugandan. So even if you are living here, you must know where your roots are. That's very important. Secondly, I want to encourage you. The environment is there for you to capture and invest. I'm surprised it has not come out here. There are 3 documents which can assist you to access any opportunity for investment. One of them is Vision 2040. Know what Ugandans must do as prescribed in that document. The second one, every year we have what they call National Development Plan. One has already gone. We now have approved as Parliament National Development Plan 2. Know what programs they are and where you can fit in your investment. Number 3, you must know the budget framework paper because it shows you what the government has planned financially in order to invest in the economy. So those are some of the documents which can guide you. So the opportunities are there, and we would like you to come and partner with Ugandans in order to improve on our economy. The second thing, I'm very fortunate to have been a member of Parliament representing my Parliament and my government in the ACP EU Joint Parliamentary Assembly. I was here in Brussels representing Uganda for a couple of years. So I know what policies are discussed as far as African development is concerned. And it is your duty to play your role, to show people that Africa is the only single continent which is a sleeping giant. No other country has the kind of mineral investments we have. No other country has the land assets as Africa. So we are a sleeping giant. If you are thinking about tomorrow, think about investment in Africa. And don't you as Ugandans, why do you want other people to go before you go there? You must go there and capture the opportunity for your future. That is very important. And as a member of Pan-African Parliament, I left Pan-African Parliament last year. One of the things we consciously designed is to consider Africans in the diaspora, and I'm now passing that message to Ugandans in the diaspora, that you form the 6th region of the continent of Africa. We have 5 regions. We have Northern Africa, Southern Africa, Western Africa, Eastern Africa, and Central Africa. Then we have now consciously adopted the 6th region, which is the diaspora continent. And it's very important, you must capture that. Some of you Africans who have been able to make it politically, you are welcome to fellowship with Pan-African Parliament whenever they sit. Because that is where you can learn how you can link up and make Africa better. And we gain from the exposure that you have had in other continents and take it back home. That is very important. Finally, I want to say that we have what we call Agenda, AU Agenda 2063. For the next 50 years, where do we want to take Africa, including Uganda, of course? I must tell you, those of you who are authors, who write books, I've asked my fellow Africans in different fora, what was Africa like before we started slave trade? What was Africa like? What was Africa like before Africa was balkanized, fragmented into different countries? We never had war. And yet we now read documents, we read books which talks about Africa characterized by war. We never knew war. So we must know the root of war. We must know the root of poverty. Africa was never associated with poverty. Africa was never associated with ignorance. So we must know the root. And we must begin to write our own history. Nobody is going to write history about Uganda, about Africa, and you gladly buy it and you tell your children that's the right story about Uganda. Uganda is wealthy. Uganda is rich in its culture, in everything. Just look at me. I'm over 60. I'm still beautiful. What about you? Nobody is going to tell your story. You are the one to tell your story. That's why I'm saying, those of you who may not know, we consciously have decided to pass as a parliament dual citizenship. If there's anything that you need to preserve here in Britain, wherever you are, in France and what have you, be there, but also be a Ugandan. That's why we have agreed on dual citizenship. And if you have any problem, I'm still in Parliament and I intend to come back. Please look me up. I will try and find a way of making sure that Ugandans do understand how they must benefit from the dual citizenship. We have already passed that law, and I don't know why you have not utilized it, and we are there to help you in case you have had any problem. But otherwise, I love you. I'm very happy to have associated with this forum. May God bless you all.